What's up, guys? My name is Eric. If you're new to my channel, hit the like and subscribe button. It's all about mental health, mental illness, suicide awareness, making sure that nobody goes through it alone. I got a lot of requests on trichotillomania. If you don't know what trichotillomania is, it is the pulling of your hair out of your arms, out of your eyebrows, out of your eyelashes, out of your head. It is a anxiety almost reaction, and it is something that's real. Trichotillomania, a lot of people actually struggle from and didn't even know that it has a name. I am not a doctor, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist. My name is Eric. I deal with ADHD, PTSD, GAD, MDD, which is pretty much anxiety along with clinical depression. I do take meds, I see a therapist. I lost a wife and a father to suicide. I'm a recovering addict. I wanted to share some coping for trichotillomania because it is one of those things that I found a lot of people struggle with. If you're not aware, I do a lot on TikTok and on social media of mental health awareness, sharing coping tools, sharing coping skills, of things that I've learned. And I don't personally struggle with trichotillomania. I do pull my hair. I actually pull my ear hairs because I'm fucking old. And so it drives me nuts, so I pull those. But I've ran into so many people that do. I work at a dual diagnosis rehab. I do a group therapy session there on the weekends, and I've actually ran into a couple different individuals that have had it. We've talked about different coping skills, and here are the best coping skills that I was able to find for trichotillomania. If you are struggling with it, it's not a lifelong deal at all. Therapy can help. I'm always big on therapy, always about it. So some of the coping for it. Well, one, if you struggle with pulling out your hair, simple as a hat. Put a hat on. At night, if you pull out your hair at night, wear a bandana to bed. Those are two of the ways right there to help stop and prevent pulling out your hair. One of the other things that you can also do is lotion. Keep your hands well lotioned. The more well lotioned your hands are, the easier it is for you to grip any of the hair to actually pull. So it helps you prevent and pulling that because you're going to notice that you can't grip. So it kind of triggers something in your brain going, wait a minute here, I need to stop. One of the big things too is leave notes in the areas that you actually pull. Trichotillomania, one of the things is people will go to certain areas in a house or in a room and actually do it. So leave yourself positive reminder and positive notes in the areas that you do it to remind yourself, no, you matter, you got this, you can do it. The more positive reinforcement you have, the easier it is. Also, talking to other people that struggle with it. Believe it or not, a lot of people do struggle with this. And knowing that you're not the only one makes a huge difference. That's why even down below I have links to the mental health Discord communities I have. It's peer-to-peer support. Find somebody that struggles with it and share with them. It makes a big difference knowing that you're not alone. There's so much therapy in that. There's so much therapy even in the sharing side of it. One of the other things that you can do is give yourself a calendar and celebrate your days that you're not pulling. I mean, it's the same as like a sobriety calendar. You can use it as the same function. Tracking your days is huge because you want to celebrate those days. I mean, get yourself a reward if you haven't done it for 7 hours, a day, 2 days, a week, and start building yourself up. The more that you're conscious about it and aware of it, just like with any addiction, the more that you prevent from doing it because it is on your mind. The more that it is on your mind, the more that you can mentally fight it. It's when it kind of slips our thought process and we just go back to it by habit. It gets back to that habit part, you got to then go back into breaking that habit. But having a calendar and tracking the days that you haven't done it, the hours that you haven't done it is huge. Setting yourself some small goals of celebration, 7 hours, celebrate. A day later, you haven't done it, celebrate, and that can be whatever you want it to be, something that you enjoy though. The more that we look forward to something, the more that we're more willing to fight it off in our head. Another coping mechanism for it. Fidget spinners, fidget cubes, things to fidget with because it is almost like a reflective habit that is, if you break the habit, it takes roughly about 28 days to break a habit, and you switch yourself over to fidget spinners, fidget cubes, you're not now damaging yourself, you're not pulling it out. A lot of times it is, from the people that I've talked to, a lot has to do with some of the underlying anxiety challenges that we face. Sometimes even once those anxiety challenges are gone, it's become such a habit that we go right and just continue doing it. So breaking that habit is going to be huge. Another thing you could try is the tape. If you haven't seen my other videos, click on my channel, click the other videos. You'll see that I've done self-harm videos using tape as a coping mechanism, using glue as a coping mechanism. You can actually go back to these instead of doing it if you have this really huge urge to actually do it that you're fighting off. You don't know how to make it stop. You can try the tape, you can try the glue. Those right there alone also can help you. I mean, it's all about finding, and I'm going to spew at you a bunch of different coping because it's trial and error to find out what works for you. Not everything's going to work for everyone, and it's finding out what works best for you, because you're the most important in the world. Another good one is magnets. And the reason magnets I think are great, and the person that actually brought this to my attention that they use it, is because it still has that pulling feature of when you pull your hair, when you pull, you're pulling still. So it gives you that, and then you feel the tension of it coming back together. So magnets is another great tool to use in breaking that habit of wanting to pull your hair. Some other ones, get yourself a beaded bracelet to roll the beaded bracelet. Snap bands, get yourself a snap band. Anytime you feel the urge, snap, snap, snap. It's getting our thought process redirected from where it's going to the fighting off those urges to want to pull. The best that you can do is finding different things to start keeping your hands occupied, especially if it's anxiety based. I struggle with anxiety a lot, and you get trapped in your head when it comes to anxiety. And sometimes you do find different ways to lash out. I mean, anxiety can get bad where it's to the point of what's called agoraphobia, where you're not leaving the fucking house. Finding out what your underlying reasons are for this is huge. I mean, talk to your therapist about it. It's something that will help you down the road be able to fight this off, and celebrating those days is huge. Anybody out there that's struggling with this, my hat goes off to you, because this is one of those things I know that a lot of people don't talk about. It's kind of like self-harm. And a lot of people don't talk about it. It could be even considered, I've talked to people that consider it almost a form of self-harm, because it does give you the pain of actually pulling your hair out. But you'd be surprised how many people struggle with it. And this is one of those that a lot of people don't speak about. And because people don't speak about it, people don't understand it or know about it. So next thing you know, nobody wants to share about it because, well, I think I'm the only one that does it. Like, is this really even a thing? It is a thing. And it's not something that you're ever going to be stuck with. You can fight through it. I worked with an individual. His name was Mike. He was a guy. He was an older gentleman, actually. He was in his 60s, had a dual diagnosis. And it was awesome when he started telling me, the first week of how he was struggling with pulling his hair. We started doing some different coping techniques. And next thing you know, when he was leaving the dual diagnosis, he hadn't done it for 2 weeks. And he was really proud of himself. And just seeing that pride and joy of him being like, dude, like, I am not doing this right now, it was huge. And that's celebrating the small victories. It's something as simple as a hat, a bandana at night. There's these little tricks that you can do. I've heard people even say, well, keep your hair wetted down so it's harder to pull. I don't think a lot of people want to walk around with wet hair. Hair gel, I know, can help to the point that you can't pull it out, but that's for shorter hair. Longer hair, they've taught me, and I've been told bandanas work extremely well, or even hats. So find out what works for you. It's trial and error. Remember, with this, you are not alone. Also remember, though, that you may want to dig in and find out if there is this underlying challenge. I mean, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. This isn't something I'm diagnosing anybody with. It's something that I want to make you aware of if you are struggling with it, that you can get help for it and that you're not alone. And that's the biggest thing, is that you're not alone. You are not alone. You'd be blown away how many people on TikTok have reached out to me about this. And the struggles of it, of asking if, hey, can you share different coping mechanisms and coping tools with it? So I was able to reach out to people that I've worked with firsthand that were struggling with it, to see if any of the coping that I shared with them to maybe try helped, or what they found helped. So the more that we share, the more that we talk to others about what we're going through, the more that we're able to make sure that nobody goes through life alone, the more that we're able to make sure that nobody struggles. And that's the greatest thing of sharing. So remember that you're worth it. And if you are struggling with it, trial and error. Hit that like and subscribe button. Comment below what you've done to prevent doing this, because I'd love to know. The more tools in our tool belt, the more that it helps everybody. Down in the description is all of my different social media. I'm doing my best to bridge a crisis hotline and therapy, sharing experiences, tools, resources in between, to make sure that nobody goes through life alone, because it can be a battle, it can be a struggle, but one that you're not alone in. I even have links to Amazon affiliate links that have fidget spinners and everything that I use off of Amazon or buy off of Amazon that help me with my anxiety to calm it down some. I even have a link down below to BetterHelp. It's online therapy. I mean, it's trial and error to find out what works best for you. And it's about not giving up. And who knows, if you've never tried therapy before and you're afraid of seeing a therapist, well, then try it out at your own home. See what you think about it. Again, don't give up, because you're fighting through battles that some don't understand, but there are those that do understand, and there is help and support for it. So click that like and subscribe button. Remember that you're a BAMF. You're a badass motherfucker. You've made it through 100% of your worst days and make it through 2 today. And that's how amazing you are.